Alright, so while I'm waiting for my dinner to cook, we're going to talk about CHOP or CHAZ or whatever you want to call it. Now they've renamed it to CHOP now because they realised that they could probably get into a world of trouble by calling it CHAZ, because there's a difference, right? Your Occupy protest is vastly different than an autonomous zone. Autonomous zone is you're coming in and you're seizing control of something. Occupy protest is you're just temporarily taking it over the space. So there's a vast difference between the two zones, and that's why they've changed the name for anybody that's interested. It's so they don't get into legal ramifications for literally trying to take over a city. Yeah, how's that resistance going, boys? But yeah, the CHOP zone now, or CHAZ CHOP, I also find it very interesting that after one of my memes goes viral, they also want to rename it too, but regardless. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, obviously, there's been a bit of a problem with CHOP. We're seeing the breakdown of CHOP. You know, these far leftists always think, well, we can do better, and then you turn around and say, well, why don't you go and do it? To credit to them, they actually did go and try it, and it's failing. But regardless, they did go and try it, so full credit for them for doing it. But we've had 2 shootings in CHOP in 2 days now. It's weird, that, isn't it? It's just like that they've had more shootings in the past 2 days than some of the major other cities. Well, Chicago probably not. But it just always seems to be these left cities, these left areas that always seem to have a lot of these shootings, right? Like Chicago and all that sort of stuff. But regardless, Seattle's police union lamented at the lack of leadership in the city Saturday after reports emerged that early morning shooting in the so-called CHOP left one person dead and another in critical condition. According to Seattle Times, police homicide and assault detectives are investigating the shooting, citing a post on the Seattle Police Department's blotter. On June 20th, approximately 2:30 a.m., Eastern Precinct officers responded to a report of shots fired in Carl Arson Park. A statement on the blotter said, "This is inside the area refers to the Capitol Hill Organised protest," because Organised protest is different than Autonomous Zone. Officers attempted to locate a shooting victim, but were met by a violent crowd that prevented officers safe access to the victims. Officers were later informed that the victims, both male, had been transported to the Harborview Medical Center by CHOP medics. Officers responded to the Harborview and were informed that one of the victims, a 19-year-old male, had died from injuries. The other victim, also male, unknown age, remains in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. So this is the second shooting that's obviously happened. Latest police, 2 dead, 7 wounded in North Carolina shooting. So this is obviously, no, this is not relating to CHOP, is it? Why did this come up? Oh, okay. So no, this is right. No, this is something else. I think. Yeah, so here it is here. Seattle police in Seattle. So one person had been wounded in the second shooting in Seattle's protest zone in 48 hours. So the 2 stories are back to back. The shooting happened late Saturday night with the area in Seattle's downtown area known as CHOP, or the Capitol Hill Protest Zone. Police tweeted that one person was at hospital with a gunshot wound, and hospital spokesperson said the person was in serious condition. And obviously the 19-year-old is dead. Teens injured in second shooting in Seattle's CHOP zone. A person was taken to a medical center with a gunshot wound. So a teenage boy was injured Sunday night during a shooting in Capitol Organised Protest Zone, or known as CHOP. Police say they staged the edge of CHOP Seattle fire and were figuring out where the teen was inside the zone. Now, there were reports that the ambulance, didn't turn up to...
So many calls that police get that they respond because the other systems in society have failed.
So at the end of the day, the audio just kicked in. The reason why the ambulance didn't actually turn up was because, well, you have a group of armed men walking around with guns, making an unsafe zone for medics to get out of the car and attend to this person. I don't blame the ambulance driver or ambulance workers for not wanting to go into the zone. Also, didn't you want to be an autonomous zone? Didn't you want to have your own government? Didn't you want to be independent? That was my thoughts originally. It's weird that, that when the proverbial SHIT hits the fan, all of a sudden they're more than happy to receive help from their evil capitalist brothers, but regardless. So, yeah, that happened. Teen shot in Seattle protest, zone declines police interview. I wonder why. So the second time in less than 48 hours there was a shooting in Seattle's occupied protest zone, but the 17-year-old victim declined to speak with detectives, leaving circumstances of the shooting unclear. The shooting happened late Saturday night as the chop. Now, obviously, he doesn't want to talk because they've realised that the media will probably grab wind of it and will probably go through and plaster it all over the TV. He's going to make himself a target. So I do blame him for not speaking up because I think he needs to grow a set. But at the end of the day, I also understand why he is not talking to the police because, well, at the end of the day, yeah. But anyway. But it's not all just shootings that happen over in the autonomous zone. They've also gone through and they created a black-only segregated area. Yes, that's right. The far left, a bunch of segregationists. They look more like the alt-right every day, don't they? Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, which is now calling itself the Capitol Hill Occupied Zone, apparently created a black-only racially segregated area, with the white residents of the zone guarding the perimeter so non-blacks could not enter. Gee, it's weird that. It's like they're a bunch of segregationists. And look, at the end of the day, obviously this is not the only thing that's happened here. They've tried to grow a vegetable garden that was literally abysmal. They've had a warlord come in. There was also reports that one of the founding members of this had been charged multiple times, or allegations at least alleged against her multiple times for assault, and was literally thrown out of the zone. Like, this is the far left running a 6-block area. Can you imagine what it'd be like them running a natural city? Like, holy dooly. What we're actually seeing here, we're actually seeing the downfall of CHOP, CHAZ, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, I've always said that Trump should not interfere with this. The conservatives should sit back and watch this dumpster fire, because this is red-pilling so many people on this situation right now that he is better off letting them have their own little zone, just putting up like what they did. Put up the walls, stop people from going in or out, and letting them basically just wallow in their own pettiness. They can't grow their own food. They've had to rely on Domino's to deliver pizzas. Oh yeah, that happened. You know, medieval capitalists? Yeah, well, when obviously they ran out of food, who'd they call? Medieval capitalist company. But anyway, they obviously can't grow their own food. They obviously have no idea. There was no sort of boards or put up to stop it from like eroding in the decent rain or anything they're going to get. And we are getting into summer over in the US, so they are expecting rain and stuff sooner or later. So that garden would have just washed away in the torrential rain. Like, I'm not a green thumb by any means necessary, right? I can grow a rose, maybe at the best of times. I can grow strawberries, okay, fine. But even I know that if you want a decent garden, vegetable garden, you have to go through and you put up boards. You put up boards around the side of it to keep the dirt in. You also do cross planting too. So you grow like tomatoes and strawberries or whatever it may be. There's, benefits to plants growing next to each other sort of thing. They call it like cross planting or something like that. So even I know all that sort of stuff, right? These guys didn't do any of that. There was no foundations put up. They didn't get a whole bunch of like beams or anything like wooden beams donated to them, which they could have easily done. Easily turn around to the local hardware store and say, hey, if you want some good rapport, we're down at Chop, deliver us, like say 2 by 4, so that's 8, say 12. Give us 12, or we'll maybe put in, maybe 20. We'll say 20 beams, 22 beams that, that are 300 mil by 2 meters long or something like that, right? Just something that they can use to put up and make a vegetable garden. And they could have made a decent vegetable garden. And to be honest, when this zone gets taken back, they would have most likely left it there. I imagine the Seattle mayor would have been like, yeah, this is fine. We can leave the veggie garden here. Everybody can plant. Everybody can grow. Everybody can go through and make it a communal garden. They probably would have left it if it had been done decently. But no, they decided to throw cardboard down and throw a whole bunch of dirt on top of it. Now, I know there's a thing where you put cardboard down to stop grass and roots growing through it, weeds growing through it. I know that. It's also used for, like, for example, they use lawn clippings, bark, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I get that. But, yeah, it would have just trapped the water in and caused wet feet and everything like that. But regardless. So they can't grow their own fruit. They've got no police department, which they then had to go through and make their own police department. They've got a warlord that's taken over that was going through. They were extorting businesses. They've had 2 people shot in 2 days. They have no ambulance or their own ambulance or medics or anything like that. Well, apparently they have medics now, which is probably just God knows what. Like, this is literally the downfall of this Chop zone. We're watching the slow decay of this zone. That this zone is just slowly rotting from the inside out. Much like their vegetable garden. So at the end of the day, give it a week, give it a month, maybe this whole thing is going to be over. This thing is just going to deteriorate at a growing rate to the point where the Seattle mayor sends the police department in to retake the blocks. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, I feel sorry for the shop owners who are being extorted in this area. But that said, they also voted for these far leftists as well. Obviously, they didn't vote for Antifa, sure. And they didn't vote for, obviously, Black Lives Matter to take over their area, sure. But they did elect the mayor. They did elect the governor. And from what I've seen, the mayor of Seattle seems to be a little bit, how do you say, weak as piss. So, at the end of the day, they technically did vote for this. That these are the policies that you wanted to bring in. Now, I'm sorry that you have been extorted by a whole bunch of Black Lives Matter activists and Antifa at the moment, but you did vote for this. So, I'm sorry, but you voted for it. So, yeah. But guys, yeah, this is, like I say, we're literally seeing the downfall of Chop, and it's glorious. And this is why I think Trump should not interfere, because at the end of the day, this needs to be exposed. People need to see this and go, holy dooly, this is a dumpster fire. I don't want these policies. And I know, it sucks. It sucks to go through and make an example out of a group of people. But think of it this way. It's for the betterment of Seattle. But yeah. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. We've got another video coming up soon. We're talking about mail voter and fraud. So, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. But it needs to be talked about. And obviously, next couple of days, we're going to be catching up on a lot of the news we missed. There was a lot that happened when people were busy rioting and protesting. It's like it was a great big diversion. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below regarding this. And guys, we'll see you in the next video. probably after food. Have a great night and enjoy.